you. It's really lovely. Really, who was behind that? Was it Susie? Where's she gone? Yeah, it's lovely. Thank you. It's really lovely. Yeah, I do just want to say a few words. I'm at the age where I have to put my glasses on. Yeah, actually I can remember how I start. They'll come on and off. I'll put them on my head. I suppose I've been reflecting on what's been most important to me about EDP and what I think is most important about the work that EDP does. And the word that has really jumped out to me has been connection. And what is it that is needed in order for all of us to have really healthy connections, and healthy connections with ourselves, healthy connections with other people, healthy connections with the activities and the communities that we're engaged with, and the importance of healthy connections. And it seems to me that when somebody has a big issue with drugs and alcohol, that connections in some way are broken, and the connection almost becomes with the drug or with the alcohol. It's almost like the primary relationship becomes a relationship with drugs, with alcohol, often with both of them. So important to what EDP does is supporting people to rebuild and to make those healthy connections. So healthy connections for themselves, with others, and with healthy activities. And I know you know that that's what EDP does, but it feels like if I'm going to describe the most important word, it seems to me to be about connection and making those healthy connections. And a lot of that happens in people's everyday lives. It doesn't all happen in services. It needs to happen where they are, which might be in prison or in their communities, but certainly in their everyday activities. But when people do come into contact with services, what's really important, and those of you who've been at EDP a long time will have heard me say this a lot, but all the research shows that what makes the biggest difference to people is not what interventions that are offered, but the thing that's most significant in terms of people recovering and healing is the quality of the connection that they have and the quality of the relationship they have, and whether people feel that they really have been listened to and they really are respected and there is genuine empathy and congruence, and that needs to happen in contact with anyone, not just with your recovery worker, but with the volunteer who greets you at the door, the peer mentor who's working with you, the doctor, the nurse, and anyone who comes into contact. The quality of that connection is the really critical ingredient to people's recovery and to people's healing. And I suppose for me it's about an understanding of common humanity. It's about that feeling of connection, and good quality connection is about realising that we're all people and having a sense of that common humanity. And I mean, I'm aware that a number of people in this room have had issues with drugs and alcohol, and they may not have told anybody, or I might not even know. But actually that was a moment in time. It could be any one of us at any time. And what feels really important is that we're there for one another, and people at EDP are able to be there for one another in that really humane way. And for me, what's been important is to not just have that in the way we work with people, but I've really wanted that to be across the whole organisation, because it isn't just about how we work with the people who come to use EDP services. It's also that needs to be reflected in how staff are treated. Do staff feel respected? Do staff feel that they're listened to? Do staff feel that there's empathy and understanding there? And for me, it's been important to have that as part of the culture at EDP, and as the way of leading at EDP. So I see, I'm going to have to look at my notes again, but it's also important that leaders are able to model that way of working, and I don't just mean me. There's lots of leaders at EDP, there's lots of people in leadership positions. And I think the thing about leadership is interesting, because leaders are often expected by people to demonstrate more sort of stereotypically masculine ways of behaving. So determination, decisiveness, being tough, setting boundaries, being certain, knowing, getting things right. And while these qualities have their place, and certainly I've had to make some tough decisions, I've had to be decisive, I've had to know about certain things, and I've needed to set boundaries, I also think that it's really important that we have leaders who are able to use those feminine qualities as well, stereotypically feminine qualities. So I'm not saying that men can't do this, but leaders that don't always have to know everything, leaders that are able to be with uncertainty, leaders that are able to show compassion, and leaders that are able to connect really well. And I'm really heartened that there's an increasing recognition of the importance of those feminine qualities in leadership. Really inspired by the president in New Zealand and Jacinda Ardern, and the compassion that she showed when the shootings in the Muslim mosque, and I'm really heartened that people are interested in that, and interested in a leader that can behave in that way and act in that way. And I feel happy to know that these things about connection and valuing people and showing compassion are things that lots and lots of people at EDP have, lots of leaders at EDP, lots of staff at EDP absolutely know what I'm talking about and absolutely work in this way. And I feel really happy to know that I leave EDP with people really understanding that way of working, because I know that it will carry on. We wouldn't have got where we are today at EDP without all the amazing people who work at EDP. We're now the lead provider of drug and alcohol services in Devon and Dorset. We're continuing to work in the prisons, and we also deliver prescribing services. But I haven't done those things. I haven't done those things on my own. Nothing that I've achieved have I done single-handedly. We've done it together, and there have been amazing people that I've worked with that have really supported us to do that. And not just the people at EDP, but also the people in all the other organisations that we've worked with, and the funders and the commissioners, and lots of you lovely people who are here today. And again, I'm really heartened that collaboration between organisations, again, is being really recognised, and that there is recognition that we shouldn't just look at what individual organisations are doing, but we should think about the whole system and how organisations are working together, and whether the whole system that people with complex lives are seeking support from is a place where healthy connections and healthy ways of living can be found. So I want to thank all staff at EDP. I want to thank all the partners and other people in organisations that I've worked with, all of you who are here today, and thank you very much for coming and seeing me off in this well. And I've got 3 other groups of people that I want to thank. I want to thank my family. Lawrence is at the back there, because I couldn't have, he's been a great support to me. He's looking a bit emotional, making me want to cry, so I can't look at you. But I couldn't have done this job without you, and I couldn't have done this job you know, it's like I've had another relationship, really. I've had a bit of an affair with EDP, and you've been very patient. And also my sons, because it's almost like they've had another sibling. Because, you know, I've given a lot to EDP, and it's been important to me. So I want to thank them for being very patient, and the times they've trooped up and down Exeter High Street with a bucket when we've been doing the Great West Run and collecting money with me and running half a marathon. I also want to thank the EDP board, because EDP has a board of trustees, has 9 trustees, and they're largely quite an invisible group of people. A lot of you might not have met them, but the trustees at EDP give so much time and so much commitment to EDP, and they're a very skilled and wise, competent group of people, and without their support and their wisdom and their challenge and their scrutiny, there's no way I could have done the job that I've done, and there's no way that EDP would be where it is today, because they've really helped to steer EDP to the position that it's got to today. And finally, I want to thank a group of people, none of whom are probably here, but in my 25 years of working with people with drug and alcohol problems, there have been so many people that have really, really inspired me with their incredible courage and strength. I've seen people really turn their lives around from really dark places and having had very traumatic histories and past, and their stories and their strengths and their gifts and their personalities will always be with me and will always motivate me to support the work that EDP does. It's been a privilege, and it was a real privilege to work with all of those people, and it's been a privilege to work with all of you, so I'm very grateful. Thank you.